Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 93 of Build Your Stash and Craft. This week we are going to make beaded flowered centers like I have here. And because we don't have bead caps, I went ahead and I made some clear bead caps, but you can color them any color you want to. And I'm going to show you how to do that first before we make the bead centers. All you're going to need is a pop bottle, any kind, you can use a 2-liter or any kind of pop bottle. And then very carefully you're just going to cut off this flat part. This is where the label was, and that's kind of like the flattest part of the bottle. So I just got to start with my knife, and then I just use my scissors, just because to me they're a little bit safer. So we're going to cut off the top. There we go. And don't forget, don't throw this away. You can decorate it up and use this as a glue holder. You set your glue on there, and it keeps your glue upside down, and keeps your glue right at the tip of your bottle. So I'm just going to go around and cut off this flat part. There we go. And then this is really cute too. This is a good just catch-all, just to put your whatnots in there. So I'm going to just grab a napkin here and dry this off, because I just washed it, but it didn't dry yet. And then I'm going to cut off the part, whoops, I'm going to cut off the part that's got the label on it. And then I'm just going to cut just small, because my beads are small. I'm going to need my bead caps to be small also. So I'm just cutting these about 3/4 of an inch. And then what you're going to do is sorry about that, my phone rang and interrupted us. So now I have these pieces cut, and like I said, they're about 3/4 of an inch, between 1/2 and 3/4, but we're just going to cut that into a square. So we're just going to cut some little squares out of that. Now you'll need 2 bead caps for each bead. So we're going to use 6 beads, so we'll need 12 bead caps. There was a little extra piece on there that I didn't want on, so I cut it off. I'm just going to make this one square. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to cut 16 of those. And then you're going to use your smallest pokey tool and just go ahead. I usually do it 2 at a time. I just put 2 pieces together. And this is my my mouse pad, which is kind of thick. And so just anything, you can fold up a towel or some material or something. You just want something soft behind it. Put your pokey tool right in the middle of those squares, and then just poke through. And so now it's going to be on there just like that. So, and then I just kind of make sure that it's on there good. And then what you do is hold on to your plastic and take your scissors, and you're going to put this edge of your scissors on the metal part of your pokey tool, and start in the middle of one of the sides of the square with your scissors on the edge of the metal of your pokey tool. And then you're just going to start going around with that little bit of an angle on your scissors, keeping your metal part on the pokey tool, and just turn the plastic as you go. It's easier to turn the plastic than it is to move your scissors. And I forgot to keep my scissors on the edge, and I just lifted it off. So I'm going to put my scissors back onto the metal and just go around just like that. To me, I find that's kind of the easiest way to get a bit of a circle. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle either. So there we've got 2 circles with a hole in the center. And I know with this being clear, it's hard to see, but and I'll do that just one more time and show you again how to do that. So I'm just going to put those on my mat, put my pokey tool right about in the middle, and poke it through. Pull it down just a little bit. I'm going to take my scissors on an angle, put the bottom of I'm going to set my pokey tool right on my mat. Put my scissors on the metal part, start in the middle of one of the sides of the square, and then just turn the plastic, keeping your scissors at an angle and touching the metal part of your pokey tool. And just keep going until you get to where you started. There we go. And now we have 2 more circles. And then what you do is these kind of have a little bit, these are rounded a little bit this down. So what I want to do is I want to put the part that's rounded, I want to face that up. Move the rest of this out of the way. I'm going to hold it down with my pokey tool. I'm going to put my pokey tool in that hole so that the hole does not disappear on me. Otherwise the hole will kind of melt shut. If that happens, just poke it back open with your pokey tool. And then just take your heat gun, and the first time you do it, it takes a little bit before your heat gun gets hot. But as soon as your heat gun starts getting hot, just go around it and around it. Now it doesn't get perfectly shaped like a bead cap, and none of them turn out exactly the same. And that's what I think is very cool about it. So, and here we go. Remember, it's going to be warm. Oh, I wish that there was a way that you could see this better. I wonder if I put it on this bead. I don't know if that helps at all or not. But there it is. And it's rounded. And it's more rounded on 2 sides than it is on the other 2 sides. That's the way that it happens. But it still looks really cool when you're done. So I'll do that again. Just put it with whatever part is kind of rounded up. Put that up. And then just put your pokey tool in the center hole. And then just go around it with your heat gun. And when your heat gun gets hot, it's going to start curling up. And like I said, and then you can kind of like, if you turn your pokey tool, sometimes it'll turn with your pokey tool. You kind of turn it around like that until it kind of stops melting. When it stops melting, then you know you've got it as far as it's going to go. Now I think with this one, I think that very possibly, yes, I put the rounded part down, so it just kind of went flat. So now what I'm doing is I'm heating it so it curls back the other way. And there we go. I don't know if you can see it any better on here or not, but that's just kind of rounded up. Now what you can also do while it's still hot is you could take your bead and kind of push down in the center of it because you're soft underneath, and just kind of help round it that way. But I like the fact that they're not all just exactly the same. It really makes them look cool. So now we've got 6. We're going to need 12 bead caps. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I do need these last 2. So I'm going to quick melt these 2. Oh, and then the other thing that I wanted to show you, except I didn't want to do it on these 2, but I'm going to do it anyways. What you can do if you want them to be colored is use your permanent marker, and just grab a piece of paper here. Just take your permanent marker. Now, I'm sure that it's easier to do when it's flat. So just color it with your permanent marker. I'll hold it down with my pokey tool so I don't get marker all over my fingers. And then when you melt it, your bead cap is going to be red. Now you can stripe it, you can do it more than one color, you can do whatever you want with it. And then I'm just going to put it back on my pokey tool with the rounded side up. Let me see. I'll leave this under here because you might be able to see it better now that it's colored. And then just go ahead and use your heat gun. And it just curls right up. And like I said, 2 sides curl more than the other. You can kind of push that, put it back on here. Maybe you can see it better this way. So this is what it looks like. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't curl completely round. Now this one is very much just U-shaped. Like I said, if you push a bead on there or something like that, but it really doesn't matter because depending on how you put it on your bead, you can have this little part coming up over your bead, or you can have your bead setting between those 2 parts. So it still looks really cool. And I'll do one more colored one so that I'll just put those 2 together on my flower center, and we'll just have one special bead. Just do that. Better put my top back on my marker before it dries out. And you can do this if you forget to do it before you melt it. You can do it afterwards. And so there is that one. Okay, and now we'll put one of our bead centers together. What you're going to want to do is you're going to need 6 beads, and you can make it, you know, just however many depending on the size of your beads. I find 6 to be a good number. And I'm going to kind of, these ones are a little bit mixed, so I wanted to see if I had 6 that were about the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm going to use these 6 right here, and I'm going to throw these in the bottom half of my pop bottle, the start of my whatnots. Alrighty, then what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of our ribbon, and this is probably about 12 inches I just cut off, and then you are going to kind of work back this edging. And if you can't do it that way, an easy way to do it, let me see, where's my scissors? An easier way to do it is just cut right next to the wire. There we go, and then pull that little bit off, and now you've got your wire. Now just use your tweezers or tools and just pull that piece of wire out. The reason I do this is for 2 reasons. Number 1, this is a really nice thin wire, but it's very strong. And then number 2 is you get your wire, and then you have this left over. I don't use beaded wire that often, so I like to take the wire out of my beaded wire anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put on a bead cap. I have to put my glasses on to see this. Maybe I should put this white paper back up here. Might make it easier to see. Okay, so I'm going to take my wire and put on a bead cap, and then a bead. And of course I don't do this often, so I'm terribly slow at it. And then another bead cap. Okay, now you've got a bead cap and a bead, and then a bead cap, and then you need another bead cap, because you need a bead cap on each side of every bead. So this one goes the opposite way. This one curls up, that one curled down around that bead. This one that I put on curls up to cradle this bead. And then another bead cap, which is going to curve down so that that bead's got one on each side. Now another bead cap. I always forget to do 2 bead caps in a row. I get part way done, and then I have to go back and take it apart and put another bead cap on there. Let's see if I can find my hole there. There it is. And we're going to do this until we have 6 beads with a bead cap on each side. Make this one curve onto our bead, and then make this one curve up. Put in another bead, and here's what they're looking like so far. Make this one curve down. One more curving up. And one more curving down. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have the red ones that we did. I just put that one on there. I don't think that's the right bead. I think this is the right bead. And then that one. And then that one. So this is what you have. You have 6 beads with a bead cap on each side. And you can do this with regular bead caps if you have them. You know, sometimes if you can find old jewelry, it will have bead caps on it. You can take it apart and do it that, you know, get bead caps that way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to take the 2 wires, and I'm just going to kind of center it so that the wires are about the same length. And then I'm just going to take those 2 wires and I'm going to twist them together. Just like that. And now we've got our circle. So then what you're going to do is just kind of, push it till it's nice and round. And then I'm going to twist this. I'm going to twist this out, but now it doesn't need to be tight or anything. I just want to twist those two together. And then we need to put a center in it. Now, a lot of times I'll take a larger bead and I will put a larger bead in the center. And sometimes I'll put a bead cap under it, or like this flower could go right there with the bead in it. And that looks kind of cute. But because the flower is so big and this bead is so big, it's covering up, it's covering that up. So I think I would rather on this one just put the bead in the center. So what you're going to do now, you've got this twist all the way out, you're going to bring it back around and put it through the hole in your larger bead. And you can use anything for your center. If you've got some flat back flowers, they look really cute in the center. And then I'm just going to go straight across. Here's where the wires came together. I'm just going to go straight across from there and wrap it around the wires on the other side. Now don't pull too tight because you don't want to squish this together really bad. Just pull it nice and taut. And then what I do is I just go back up again around the wire that we just went over. Just go back up again and then bring it around that wire again, just to kind of basically like put a little knot in it. And then I just go around and kind of push the wire from this side where we started, kind of push that down in, adjust things the way that I want them adjusted. And so I can turn these bead caps if I don't like the way that they look. And there we go. I did turn the red one, so then instead of them sticking out the sides, they're kind of sticking out the top. And they just kind of, cradle that bead. And that is how easy it is to make a bead center. So, you just want one bead that's a little bit bigger than all the rest. And that's how it comes out. And it looks so cute. And then what I do with my extra wire, I just kind of take it and just kind of curl it around and leave it stuffed in the middle. And then when I glue it onto whatever project I'm going to glue it onto, that's going to get caught in the hot glue, and it's just going to hold everything together so much better. So there we go. And then you can just take that and take a fabric flower and just put that right in the center of that fabric flower. And they just look so pretty. Now you can use them on projects just like this, but I make them to make for my fabric flowers. They just make really pretty flower centers. And to make this fabric flower, I just took a strip of an old shirt. I just ripped a strip and then I just folded it in, not in half. I folded it so that one side was shorter than the other. And then all I did was I just took a gathering stitch. I just went a straight stitch just all along here, pulled the string together, and then just sewed the two ends together right here. And there's lots of tutorials, and I think I even have a fabric flower tutorial on how to make fabric flowers. So I didn't want to take that much time to do one of those today, but that is what this is what I love to put in the center of my fabric flowers. I think they look so pretty, and they're really easy to make. I've seen people glue them, and I've tried gluing them. They just glue all of these beads together and glue one in the middle, and I can't do it. I tried doing it with not hot glue, and they wouldn't stay together and long enough to dry. And I tried it with hot glue, and I just burnt myself, and I made a mess, and you could see the hot glue all over the place. And so that's when I went to this little thin wire I had stripped a whole bunch of ribbon I was using and thought that wire would work, and it did. And so here we go. So thank you very much. I hope that you try these, and I hope that you have fun with them. Like I said, make your own little bead caps. And the thing is, these don't look like regular bead caps. That's true. But this is creativity. This is your art. You don't want the same thing as everybody else. You want it all your own. And when you do this, this is your own. The whole thing is your own, and it turns out really pretty. And both of them look really nice in that white flower. You can dye your fabric. So, just have a good time. Make things with what you have, and it's just so much more enjoyable. So for next week, what we're going to need is we're going to need our regular wire, and we are going to need our pliers, and some of our little dominoes that we bought quite a while ago, maybe some inchies that are made out of cardboard, anything like that, something square. Scrabble tiles if you have them. But so we're going to need next week, all we're going to need is our wire and some little square objects, and we'll make something next week with that. So thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.